Hello everybody, how you all doing today? Welcome to this month's Creator Spotlight. Joining me today is New Leaf. How you doing today, New Leaf?
I'm doing quite well, thanks for having me. It's great to be around and hope we can have a wonderful time.
What did you do today, New Leaf?
So today I didn't do much and was just preparing to watch a little bit of football in a little bit, which is this afternoon, doing a little bit of gaming because that's, kind of what I do.
If you're into the football/soccer scheme, comment down below if you're interested in FIFA at all.
I'm sort of following this whole time as someone who's from Germany, a nation who loves football and has been having a little bit of a rough time for the past two World Cups. It's always sort of a celebration around where I come from.
Do you call yourself an avid fan of the footy?
Yes, very much so.
And who are you rooting for?
Germany, of course, my home country, even though I'm technically a dual citizen and I also should be supporting the USA. I definitely have been supporting Germany more than anything.
Hey, that's fine. I am actually trying to root for Africa a little bit because, sorry, not Africa, Brazil. Because I've always heard that Brazil is always the best when it comes to football and stuff. So maybe in my head, I see the United States and Brazil in the finals, and that would be a great match to watch. And you said you like games, right? What type of games do you play?
Good question. I played just about everything, be it shooters, be it platformers, be it things like Minecraft. That's kind of what I usually do around the channel, is play all sorts of pony games, testing whatever I find, and sort of bridging the gap between people who make games and people who are interested in games, sort of being this sort of link in between.
Bridge the gap by people who make games.
Yeah, because usually you have this situation with a lot of creators sort of making games, but not knowing how to get their name out there. On the other side, you got people who like games, but can't find them because the internet's a big and scary place, and I'm sort of that in-between gap who brings both together.
Would you like to give us one example of such a occurrence? Because I don't know, maybe it's just me, I just don't know how that works yet.
So one situation we had, trying to think, there was this game, I think this was back in 2019 or 2020 when they began, I believe. The game is called Battle Gem Ponies, which is a sort of, I know I gotta be careful how I say this, but it's sort of a game where you can catch ponies, train ponies, and seems familiar to a certain franchise, which I'm not naming here, but point being is at the beginning, they were sort of like getting their name out there, sort of a new studio with like a group of people doing everything on their own. And on the other side, of course, for a new game, it's difficult to be found. And I usually, I did my part, did a couple of play tests, and a lot of times I get into this contact with developers, testing their games and sort of giving them an honest review, while also giving people who are looking to play games, and especially online, that's sort of always a given, and giving them a bit of an insight as to see what the brony fandom is actually doing on the gaming side. It's very much an unknown side of the fandom. If you go to conventions, talk to people usually quite surprised when you tell them that, hey, even though the fandom's been around for dozens of years, we still make games till this very day, and it's kind of an interesting discovery to share.
You probably know a lot about how to get games out there then.
As someone who's been passionate about games ever since he was, I think, 8 years old, back when Nintendo 64 came out and Super Mario was all the hype back in the 90s. Ever since then, I've been following games, so.
Is promotion work hard to do?
It can be, but it depends on what you're promoting, because every time you're sort of promoting something new, you have the sort of process of learning what are you trying to promote. Is the thing that you're trying to promote also a good thing? Like, from an ethical question, I always believe that it's important to sort of think about what you're going to promote, what are you going to be standing behind, and that's sort of a big one. And Yeah, sometimes you get to travel, sometimes you get to meet all sorts of people, and it's always an exciting thing to do because you never know what the next step is going to be.
Trying to ask something about the Brony fandom and how you came to find it.
I found the Brody fandom through a YouTuber named Markiplier. Maybe that rings a bell or two, but I sort of ran into him and seen him make a video about a game. Here we go again with the games called SCP Containment Breach, and why was that interesting to me? Is because there was Pinkie Pie in it, and it was filled with ponies back in like the heyday of the Brony fandom, and it's like, why are ponies this famous that they've made it onto some of the biggest YouTubers' content, and then started the ritual of looking things up, and the next thing I know is I found Winter Wrap Up. Extremely catchy song. And before that happened, I was like, let's look at just one episode. What could possibly go wrong?
You know what they say about glitter. You'll continue to find this stuff lingering many years later.
Before I know it, that's season 1 and 2 done, and yeah, at that point you're just part of the fandom. You don't just watch one episode.
Markiplier. And then SMP, I actually know someone who actually does SMP work, and maybe he's the same. I would like you to introduce Maddie Tiger, who actually is part of the SMP universe a lot more than me, apparently. So if you want to talk to him about SMP stuff, feel free to just talk to him. Are you interested in anything else? By any chance, like the Brony fandom, or do you just stay with the Brony fandom?
Besides games, I sort of dove into reactions a little bit, which sort of is the new thing. Ever since Generation 5 came around, I met a bunch of people who are also reactors and were like, do a react, and I was like, sure, let's do a react, and here we go. I've done it with about every episode, and that's kind of an interesting journey, and ever since then it's sort of become part of the channel to sometimes also do reacts, which is kind of a fun thing.
So you seem to be more into MLP than any other fandom.
Yeah, My Little Pony is basically the one thing I've been following, of course. But yeah, there's also a fandom that I've sort of been in before My Little Pony, which was Pokemon. I always thought that was interesting, but once I found ponies, it was just focused just on that one, because there's one thing I sort of learned, want to say the hard way, but if you're in too many fandoms at the same time and you want to make something for every fandom, you're gonna go crazy with the amount of stuff you have to do. So I decided to just focus on ponies.
Who says you have to create anything for both fandoms? Maybe you can just be a fan of both.
Yeah, that's sort of where I am now. I'm still, of course, an avid fan of Pokemon every now and then, but ponies has sort of been the focus. It's the reason why I sometimes travel. That's another thing I do on the channel, is I sometimes show my journeys to other conventions, sort of share all the places you can travel to, because not everyone can go ahead and say, hey, let's travel to another country and just go there, and it's always a pleasure being able to share all the many sites and the many things you can share and do, and it's always a good time.
How many places have you gone to?
I travel a lot, but I'm trying to think. Last year I think it was 5 different countries. This year's gonna be 4. But yeah, I think the next big convention for me this year is going to be Norse Horse Con in Denmark, which is interesting because I've never been to that country before. Yeah, last year was stressful. I would say this much, that I was sort of in this mood, was like, there's no way there's a limit to how many countries you can visit and not go crazy from stress. 5 is sort of that number where I'm like, okay, that could be a little bit too many, because all the conventions usually bunch up in August and September, and I think last year, I think this was, I had Everfree Northwest, then 2 weeks after that was Galacon, and then I think 2 weeks after that was another convention. So it's like doing 3 conventions in 4 months, and that is a little bit much to prepare. If you then have panels and so on to do as well, you go moderately crazy.
What inspired you for your OC, your pony, your Pony Sona? What inspired your Pony Sona?
So the Pony Sona originally was a unicorn. The colors and all, I literally was just randomly. I think there is that certain pony OC creator that we all know about, and I just decided to record myself when doing it. That was an important one. I recorded myself doing it because it someday was like, maybe this could be important, but I just wanted to put colors together that worked nicely, and that's kind of what I did. But the whole alicorn thing was sort of an outside idea from someone else. They were like, what if your pony was an alicorn? Was like, let's why not? And here we go. So a lot of times that's just what it is, outside inspiration.
Make your character into a Mary Sue and just say, hello, my name is Markiplier. Well,
Yeah, alicorns get way too much judgment, though. I guess that's what was sort of another thing, because people are like, oh, alicorns are Mary Sue's, but I'm glad that Generation 5 has sort of debunked this, and that alicorns are just ponies like everybody else.
I don't know. There was this Mary Sue named Opaline. I don't know.
She was a pretty good villain. I think my hot take, but favorite villain in the entirety between G4 and G5.
Have you reacted to every episode in every MLP?
In Generation 5, yes. In Generation 4, not. I think I did I think I started in Generation 5 and have done 2 or 3 singular episodes of G4, so technically I would have to go back a little bit. But I also done something related to Generations 1 to 3, actually, so I've done a little bit of everything, but it's mostly been focused on G5 in terms of reacts. Also been suggested the first generation of ponies. That's something that was also told for other people.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, we have so much pony.
Yep.
You should react to all the ponies.
Yes, we need more ponies. It's been silent for 4 years now.
That's okay. We make ponies just to stave off the lack of pony.
This is true. The fandom has been keeping My Little Pony alive more than anything. Hasbro should be grateful, Just saying.
What's the story behind AJ's hat?
Ooh, good question. I do not know the story behind that.
Why are you wearing the hat?
Oh, the hat that I'm wearing.
Yeah.
That's because I have a hat in real life, and I was like, if I'm wearing a hat, my pony needs to wear one too, and that's why. Oh yeah, the second reason I decided on the hat, because I know all the alicorns and such like wearing crowns and so on. I was like, you know what? No, we're gonna be cool.
My crown is a cowboy hat.
We're gonna be. It was like we're gonna be cool and wear a regular hat instead. But I also wear a hat in real life, so it fit nicely.
So, what's your favorite generation, and who's your favorite pony?
So, I will say favorite generation is difficult. Oh, this is gonna be a tough one, because I know Generation 4 is the one that brought me into the fandom, but I've spent the most time with Generation 5. So, it's difficult to say. I'm just gonna go ahead and say Generation 4 is my favorite overall, particularly because Generation 5 never finished, which is, I think, reasonable. But my favorite pony used to be Twilight Sparkle, but then Generation 5 came around, and now it's Izzy Moonbow, of course. The pony that I have way too much merch of.
Maybe it's my own fault for staying in and having a book sortation when I could have been making jokes and memories and having a great time with my friends.
Still getting more, can't be stopped.
The Princess of Friendship can't get jealous.
Do you have any merch of Twilight?
Oh, I have a lot of merch of Twilight. I have so many plushes, blankets, everything. I usually, when I physically go to conventions, I'm full decked out in pony merch usually. Like everything, like over the top. Imagine Izzy Moonbow's shirt, I have her hat, I have her necklace, I have Izzy Moonbow trunks, I have shoes, I have bracelets, everything you could possibly imagine. It's like full clad on in pony gear. That's how I roll. It's just what you gotta do. You gotta commit a little bit.
Explain in your own words why you think it's necessary to be clad out in full brony attire.
I guess that's necessary. It's just like everyone has a way of expressing themselves, and I guess for me it's always like, you gotta represent, much like your football team. You wear their jersey or something, and for me I guess it's the same thing with my favorite pony. You wear her stuff, you have plushies, you have blankets, and it's a way of representation, I guess. But also sort of showing off how you feel about your pony. And I mean, if you're a favorite of, if Izzy Moonbow, one of the most extroverted ponies out there, you kind of got a vibe. You got a vibe a little bit.
Got a vibe. Got a vap. Oh, hello.
You always have this sort of question on your mind if you're wondering, hey, is there a limit to this? And eventually you discover, hey, you can have custom shoes, you can have custom gloves, you name it, and now even have custom mugs. Fun fact, you laugh at this, but you know there's this certain mug that she used in the opening movie. I remade the mug and put that out on a charity auction that went away for many hundreds of dollars, so it was worth something.
So you, would you say that you like Izzy Momo because she's an extrovert? And do you hang out with extroverts?
I'm going to turn this around. The reason I like Izzy Moonbo is because she sort of represents what I'm trying to become. This sort of, there is a certain phrase that she says in episode 34 of season 1 when she says, art is for every pony, and sort of this idea of being able to express your feelings, of being able to express what you really want to do. And I believe that's a sort of a valuable thing that someone like Izzy Moonbo teaches, is to just go out there, live your feelings, do all those things you've ever wanted. Don't just, think about doing things. Actually go out there and make the world hear about it. That's how Izzy Moonbo sort of became my favorite. But it was Twilight beforehand because I'm sort of an egghead on the side. But Izzy Moonbo sort of my thing now. I guess we kind of at some point decided on doing it backwards. So we started with the finale. Yeah, it's weird. I know all the episodes, but
backwards. It's like
yeah, I know the episodes because I've watched them, but never reacted to them. So now it's basically rediscovering them, and now we're reacting backwards.
So you want to be an extrovert? May I make a suggestion?
Sort of trying to be more expressive, do things that you always try to do that you're thinking about, actually go out and doing them, and have resulted in me suddenly doing panels, doing merch, and all those things, and even doing little art pieces every now and then, and that's kind of a good thing. It's the one thing that Izzy teaches is to unicycle.
Do you think of yourself making the podcast like this and trying to interview one person at a time, trying to get to know them?
Fun fact, there is a panel related to this that I'm thinking about doing at Galacon with something like this related to game developers, if it's possible. But that's a thing for a future avenue.
No, I definitely see that. But for me, I like to interview lots of different people. I would like to get to know them and personally, and try to understand them and actually let them be heard. While at the same time letting themselves be out there by having their little opinions,
That's good. This also sort of extends to art because you have a lot of people who sort of think about, hey, I should maybe draw a pony, maybe do this kind of art thing, and no harm ever came from just trying something. You as an individual is an art piece. That's true. I agree. You are your own canvas in a weird way, if that makes sense. Yeah, I agree. This is true.
I guess you would boop Izzy Moonbo. 9 out of 10 would boop the snoot.
Of course, I have so many pledges, but yeah, would always boop Izzy Moonbo because she's amazing and adorable.
What was your most favorable convention experience?
I will go back to 2018, which was in the Netherlands. That was Heartswarming Con, a convention that no longer exists, unfortunately, but it was the first sort of convention where I actually got to staff for a convention, and it was sort of an interesting way, and it was sort of where I started to begin getting a little bit closer to the fandom, rather than, quote, just attending and watching. That's when I sort of started to create and get myself into the fandom, and sort of that convention was sort of what kicked all of that off. And after that I would also staff again for that same convention in 2020 before the big lockdown happened.
And by that time you had free reign, pardon the pun, free reign to watch more pony.
Yep, that's true. This is the lockdown changed everything, but yeah, that's during that time I sort of got to do a little bit more pony stuff, try things out. Yeah, my first convention I think was 2016. I was sort of an attendee, up to this point, and I was like, you know what if I made a panel? What if I talked about something that I felt passionate about? And that's how sort of this sort of almost want to say relationship between the channel and conventions came, and the stuff that I did on the channel then found its way onto stage, and was a sort of interesting thing, and that only evolved, and there's a good chance I get to do a panel again this year, so we'll see what that becomes.
Have you ever had that happen, that you realized you were knee deep in something and you realized you weren't recording anything?
Was there once or a couple times when I think the worst one was like 90 minutes of footage just lost because it was I wasn't recording my challenge while doohickey, better do it again.
Favorite convention?
Favorite convention? Oh, favorite convention, PonyCon Holland, easy. I love that place. It's the successor to Heartswarming Con, because Heartswarming Con was discontinued because of the lockdown, but a new Dutch convention arose, and that place, best convention ever, no question.
And who's your best friend, since we're talking about friendship on air anyway?
Ooh, best friend. There's many people, but I would say that would be Revere. Is also German pony like me, and he was actually the first real life brony that I met when I joined the fandom. And I think this was back in 2015 when it was like sort of I think this was sort of a camp meet, and he was basically the first real Brody I met. And before that it was like, are you sure there's real other Brodies and not just like some odd guy who decided ponies are fun? And when I met him was like, okay, it's not just me anymore.
I mean, there's a lot of people that like a lot of different things. I mean,
yes, this is kind of the discovery of finding the internet and being like, hey, you're not alone on the internet. There's always that one group that has the same interests as you do.
It's hard to try to find people with your skill set and everything. But guys, you don't have to look, because right here on Friendship on Air, a little bit of shout here, Friendship on Air, you can find someone. You can find anybody in this server. I literally found an SCP interest from Luleaf to Maddie Tiger. So I mean, how often does that happen?
Yeah, sure.
So guys, definitely check out Friendship on Air, because even though at night it's brony centered, we can still find something for you. If you're into Pokemon, we can find someone that's into Pokemon, and if you're into like conventions and all, we're a convention of friends. Wow. We love to have friends. I love making friends, and I think it'd be a great opportunity for you to get out of your comfort zone and try to talk to someone new and get to actually know them and actually pay attention to them. Yeah, it's a convention that happens once a year, and you guys should definitely check us out. Our beginning date is August 2nd. We will begin at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we will definitely have friends who love to talk about stuff. They love talking about their thing, I know that Maddie Tiger would talk about like Pinkie Pie for like an hour straight. So we made a panel for it. So
probably be the same with Izzy Moonbow and Twilight, because the square root of 546 is 23.3666428109. Seriously, this is what this fandom does to people. Remember stuff no one knows. Fun fact, she's actually wrong. I'm an egghead enough, and I've actually put it into a calculator. She's slightly off.
Oh, imagine the show writers getting something wrong. I mean,
I know, right? I mean, it's a you need to take a calculator and punch in the numbers. Jeez.
Come back. You're in the distance.
What? So yeah, the webcam is new. I'm trying to get used to it. It's super sensitive, but yeah, whenever I sort of turn, it starts to massively move me away from the screen. So
what program do you use for your VTuber?
I'm on VTube Studio currently.
VTube Studio. I am on VC Face, so it only tracks my head and my neck and my tail. So
I went to a 3D model at some point anyway, but that's a thing. Those are expensive, but someday you maybe it could be a thing.
We have reached the end of the interview span for this.
Yeah, it's been awesome being on this show. Wonderful to tell everybody about what I do, about the games, about the conventions, about reactions, and sort of share my corner of the fandom along with the things I do. It's been a great opportunity to be on the show. Hopefully was able to sort of spice up ponies a little bit, tell everybody about my passion, and about Izzy Moonbow, of course, because really she's my passion if you want to ask me about everything, but I always say don't have any favorites as long as you ignore the like 30 plushies and 5 blankets and all the other stuff that I have of Izzy Moonbow. Outside of that, I have no favorites, right? That's kind of reasonable, right? 2 things that are going to be happening this year. If anyone wants to physically run into me, there's 4 things actually. If someone wants to physically run into me, I'm going to be at Norse HorseCon in Denmark. I'm going to be at Galacon in Germany. I'm going to be in Czechwestria in the Czech Republic, and going to be at Polygon Holland in the Netherlands later in October, with panels to be around. So if people want to physically meet me, talk to me, maybe get a button, feel free to stop by. I'm always happy to chat and ready to sing and party until the end of dawn. Seriously, if you know anything about meat conventions, I'm that one person who's gonna party until the bitter end on Saturday night until like 3 a.m. I'm gonna be the last pony standing. That's me in a nutshell. Seriously, we have so many talented musicians in the Brony fandom, and there's so many great songs. But yeah, there's some songs that you just cannot ever get out of your head. With that, I thank all you lovely ponies so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye, and remember, ponies, stay out of trouble, otherwise you get double and you get blasted into space at the speed of light. That's what Team Rocket teaches you.
And I'm Puzzle Piece. Thank you for watching the Creator Spotlight.
Yay, the Creator Spotlight, that's the one.
I remember...
You know, the best way to stop someone from hating you is to just get rid of them, right?